Hello, everybody. Welcome to Popcorn Planet Live here on Fandom Wire on Facebook. And yes, I know this headline and thumbnail and title might get me into some trouble, but hear me out. Hear me out. Don't just jump to conclusions like everyone's doing online. Let's talk about this. I'm in an airport. I'm not going to tell you which airport just because I don't want pandemonium. I'm going to explain why I'm in an airport. We're going to get all through it. I'm going to tell you my questions. I'm going to tell you what it's been like to travel right now in the state we're in. We're going to go through all of it. And I got my man, Lewis, to help me as always. Lewis, are you there?
Hey, what's up, Andy? Hey, I'm extremely happy that you were able to do this today. It's really important now.
Well, I was not going to do it. And Lewis was like, no, got to keep moving forward.
I woke him up.
Stream it from the airport. So I was like, all right, I'm going to try and do it from the airport. So I am legitimately here in an airport. You can tell there's a couple people, but I don't want to show too much because these people didn't sign releases. It's pretty dead. Like, I shouldn't say that's a bad word to use, but it is empty. It has been empty here, which is, thank God. It's been empty here, but there's still people traveling who need to travel for reasons. People sometimes have to get somewhere, and so I had a family thing I had to do. That's why I've been not in my studio, which I don't want to get into the personal stuff. But I had to go do something, and I had to see some family, and so I'm traveling back home to get back my quarantine. But I don't have any symptoms. I really wrestled through along with my family. I was like, I don't have symptoms. I don't feel like I'm putting anybody at risk because everybody here is putting themselves at risk. I'm not going into elderly homes or anything. I feel like it's more dangerous. So well aware of the problems, and I made that choice on my own. But I have to say though, there's a lot of working people who have to be here, who have to make the ends meet. And so it's been interesting to see it all. I mean, ask me again in 2 weeks if this was wise. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and sometimes these workers who are out here, you need the paycheck, guys. I'm looking at a bar. There's a guy at the airport bar who's just trying to help. If you're stuck in an airport, you want to be able to drink. You want to have the bartender there to give you the drink. And so there's a lot of people, regular, everyday people, a lot of airline security people, the baggage people. They've all been very nice, very understanding, keeping the distance. I got to say, I don't recommend it. Obviously, I don't, unless you absolutely have to, but I was able to have the choice. It's my risk that I put myself into and my family, and we took the risk. We knew what it was up for. And I think it's important that people have that freedom. At the same time, we have to be very diligent and be careful, which I've been maximum. I have no symptoms, knock on wood. We'll make through this okay. But I did want to, I am here and it's surprisingly calm. The people here, I don't think are oblivious or being stubborn or just ignoring it. I think a lot of people have to live their lives and move forward. And I'm seeing it unfold in a way that's oddly inspiring, to sort of see us sort of stay safe, keep our distance, help the people out who are working, tipping, doing whatever you can. All of that has sort of been my experience as I've traveled. So again, I'm sure there's others out there who don't even want to talk about it. And I thought, you know what, I'd rather just be honest. That's my new lifestyle, is to tell you what I'm doing. And so obviously you guys saw me, I wasn't in studio. Family stuff put me out of studio. Now I'm heading back to the family quarantined, stocked up, and I'll be isolating myself a bit to make sure, but look, it's tough. Lewis, you know this. I mean, when you have kids and everything else, it's tough. You're going out to the store. I mean, you're still at risk. We have to still put ourselves at risk to get supplies.
It's easier said than done. People have different situations with their life. I know one guy that had to do Uber 25 deliveries, and he tweeted out, he goes, "Hey man, like the $1,000 that we're gonna get or they're talking about is not gonna cut it." He lives in California, and he's got to go and make a living, and it's rough because he has to excuse himself for that. And Uber drivers don't get paid anything, but people are living paycheck to paycheck. So unless you're in somebody's shoes, don't judge with it, because some people, they don't know. There's a lot of uncertainty out there. We don't know what's going to go on. Some people are more fortunate than others. They could stay 2 weeks without doing anything, and other people can't stay 2 hours without doing anything, or they get evicted. So we don't know.
And so James, I saw your comment there. I'm going to work every day, also being safe. It's good for you, James. I know we got to keep safe too. I mean, just to give you a sense, like it is, so like you can tell here, right? It's pretty empty in this report. But look, social distance. Guy there, there's a guy back there. We're all keeping our distance from each other.
Right.
We're all being calm and rational, and I think that's the thing. But like a joke, like it's pretty pretty empty. This is just one little terminal, but I see the occasional person walk by. But it's inspiring to see that there aren't 100 people going to spring break traveling right now. Like, it's as needed and case by case emergency. But that's what I think is important. But anyway, thank you guys for being patient and not jumping down the throat. I saw a few at the start. And I expected some hate. I'm sure I'll still get it on Twitter and stuff. It is what it is. But I got your back. If you guys need to do it, you got to do it. But be diligent, be safe. Don't put others at risk. Don't go to unnecessary places. I think that's really the most important things we focus on. But I'm not going to say which airport. It's a pretty big airport. I got a question here from Anthony McIntosh. You guys, this isn't Ask Me Anything, so if you guys want to support and send it, now's the time to support both Lewis and I. Cash App, Nerd Report, Cash App, Andy Signore when you can. Our ends meet. Anthony, thank you for support, man. I see you. I love you, man. Have you ever thought of creating a new form of Screen Junkies with, say, you, Jody, Nordlecka, Don, with weekly contributions from myself? Look, I think we're doing it, right? We're making it happen. I love it. We were calling it the Trinity, but that was no joke. As I get back home and I'm more back to settled quarantine life, I think Lewis, if you're down, I'm down. If Jody,
I'm down. I think this is an opportunity.
It's doing way more. Cool. And it's just Anthony. Yes, if you're home and you want to hop on and do something with me, reach out. We can figure something out. You're well spoken. You're a smart guy. I'd love to get some of your insights. So absolutely, we can have. That's what I'm trying to build here: is more regulars, more innovation, more interaction. We used to do that on Screen Junkies U and other opportunities, and we stopped. But I was always my favorite thing to do. And so I don't want to let that stop. But yeah, thank you for that, Anthony. What were you going to say, Lewis?
Oh, I was going to say that, yeah, the most rewarding thing of doing this is talking to other fans from all over the world. I see Stefania on the chats there. I mean, meeting someone from England, I mean, that's awesome. And we all have stuff in common that we love, entertainment, film in our own ways. So any inputs you guys have, I'm sure Andy is going to welcome it, and we'll all brainstorm and get everyone involved. That's what the community is about. So yeah, I would love to see Andy bring back some kind of format like that. It's all up to him. I don't know anything on the inside because the guy is really creative. I know the people around him that are still there, the people that did stay, they are very creative. So yeah, there's exciting stuff in the future. And take this opportunity to come back stronger, because that's what I'm doing. I'm starting to appreciate things more a little bit, being at home, family, these channels, my friends and stuff. When we're out of this, take the extra step and do what you always wanted to do, because you realize that life is short, right? So now if there's something you wanted to do in your life, now's the time to take that little risk after we get over this hump, I think. So I'm going to quadruple my efforts here with the nerd culture.
Yeah, we'll do it. I'm there for you when I'm back home on studio. We'll do it.
Yes.
But we got a Facebook question I want to definitely get to. Do you still talk to the fan Mike Hunt or Dixie Normus? No, I don't know who they are, but thanks for trying.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, it's good. It wasn't as good as John Campia. John Campia is way better.
No.
That was I see. Tony, what's up, Tony? What's up, Andy Lewis? What's up, Tony? West Memphis in the house. All right. So if you guys have questions you want to send over support, please do. Again, Cash App, money sign at Andy Signore, money sign Nerd Report for Lewis.
Thanks.
I'll check my let me know, and I'll check the alerts. But Lewis, you had some stories. You pulled them for me, right? So we can go through
I do. I have. If you want to check that out, do you? Unfortunately, my monitor is kind of far away from me to read it to exact. You can't read it from there, but I'll give you the skinny on it. Christopher Nolan, who's been a champion for the theatrical experience. He's urging the U.S. government to please give some sort of stimulus to theaters so they continue to move forward after this stuff. Apparently, they are really getting their ass kicked by not being open at all. I know that theater employees do not get paid well or as what they should. So that's maybe in the works as well. So right now, Christopher Nolan, who's a guy who still shoots movies and film, is pushing to please continue the theatrical experience and getting the government involved with it. I really appreciate Christopher Nolan. I love his films. I love the fact that he continues to keep it old school. He never fell for the 3D BS. So I'm going to give kudos to Christopher Nolan. Love or hate his films. I give him props, Andy. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I see 2 super chats. We'll get to them. Keep them coming, and you'll pivot the conversation to what you guys want to talk about. But I am going to play devil's advocate on this one, actually, Lewis. I mean, yes, brilliant. I love it. Is that really the priority right now?
Well,
I mean, I think he just really wants Tenet to be in movie theaters, not at home. And I feel it. I want to see it. I want to see Wonder Woman in theaters. I want to see a lot of these movies in theaters. But at the same time, I'm just like, yeah, of course. There's a lot of industry suffering. Correct. Why? What makes the movie theater industry more important than the service industry, or
escapism? Maybe
that's totally. There's a million artists that are not going to get just smaller independent creators, except. So it's hard for me to be like, well, yeah, the movie theater community is the hardest that needs the money right away from the government. I mean, yes, good intentions.
Nerd Wars.
He's right.
Nerd Wars right here, real quick.
Right.
That's his industry, though. That's all he should be talking about. He can't get into nuclear arms race. He's not going to be talking about the nuclear arms race. He's an entertainer. He's a director.
I don't think the theaters will die. I think people will always want to go to a movie theater. Now, will they be different after this? Maybe. But I don't see how you can just completely kill them. There's too many big budget movies, big in theater. So that's my point of, is that the first industry we need to fix right now? I don't know. A lot of those movie theater people, all of us, we can all jump at if we really need the cash, it's not going to help. I'm not trying to be flippant about it, but grocery stores are hiring everybody. They want more than they can get. So, I mean, like, there are opportunities out there where it's like, the movie theater is not paying that much traditionally. I'm sure you could get a temporary something somewhere, risk, but it'd be the same risk in the movie theater if you're still working there when it's open. So I don't know. That's the industry. I'm just like, I think it's Nolan. I love it. He's right. I support him, but is that where I want to put all my donations right now? I don't know. I don't know if that's where I'm going to go. Lewis, is that really your first stop to donate?
No, not really, but it should be maybe in one of the industries, and maybe he's just doing it so it stays within like their range of mind, within their radar, so they don't ignore it completely.
Sure. I don't. And it's good that he's paying attention on. I agree with that.
Yeah. So I don't really
want to forget them.
Yeah, I think Christopher Nolan is pushing for his space, like what's relevant to him in what he does. We hear of actors always talking politics and stuff like that, which is like not really what their career is. But here he's pushing for something within his career. You get what I'm saying? His profession, directing. So I really appreciate that.
All right, I got a couple supporters I want to make sure I get to while we're talking.
Awesome.
From Anthony, thank you, Anthony, once again. To come back stronger, Anthony needs loyal friends, not opportunists. That's true. I'm being careful this time around. That's for sure. When you're famous, when you're popular, and you got a channel with a lot of subs, everyone's your friend.
I'm just here because
until you need it.
I'm only here because
Lewis, you're an opportunist too, exactly.
Andy's hot, so I'm just
Nerd Report needs those sweet subs. I know what you're doing. And then we got Michael sent it. All right, so Michael, thank you, very generous. Let's get this. He wants to do an impromptu nerd, but I saw some of you already commenting about this. Who would win in a fight, Deathstroke or John Wick? I mean, it's probably Deathstroke, right?
Depends what iteration of Deathstroke. I mean, maybe the one in the CW won't, but the one in Titans will. I don't want to spoil it what he does in it, but John Wick is just the last movie I wasn't a big fan of. It felt indestructible. The sense of danger was gone. He never runs out of bullets. It was just 2 hours of that. So I would think if Deathstroke's in the John Wick movie, Deathstroke would lose, and if vice versa.
It's true. It totally depends whose movie it is.
Yeah.
Here we go, Chris. What's up, Chris? Dude, text me. I'll let you can join. You can join the conversation if you're available. I'll text you the link. What airport are you in, and why are you traveling? Well, I said at the beginning, Chris, but I'm traveling. I had a family thing I go, and I traveled. I traveled to Arizona, and I've done 2 flights. I had to do it connecting because it couldn't go direct where I needed to go. So I'm at a major airport. I didn't really want to say just because I was sort of keeping it on the down low, but I had to travel for family's sake, and I was sharing that it wasn't as bad as everyone thinks. But I'm not obviously encouraging you go do it. But it's been much calmer. The people here are very nice, and working people have to work. So. Yeah, that's the update. But I'm sending the link if you're actually watching and bored. you have the invite. You can hop in and join our conversation. Thank you for saying it, Chris. Good to you. As for Deathstroke versus Deathstroke versus John Wick, it was interesting because it totally depends whose movie it is. But I feel like Deathstroke's lost. Has John Wick ever really lost?
But Deathstroke's fought stronger opponents. If you watch,
true,
yeah,
valid,
so,
very supernatural talent. You're right,
supernatural and kick their ass. So that's the thing. John Wick hasn't kicked anyone with supernatural powers, although it's debatable in those movies whether the villains have supernatural powers or not. It's kind of over the top.
Yeah.
Facts.
So who are you picking? Who are you picking?
You asking me?
Picking.
Oh, me? I'm picking. Like I said, if it depends on what movie they're in, but Deathstroke all the way. I'm not a fan of John Wick as much anymore after the third movie.
Yeah, I lost interest. Hold on.
All right. Yeah, so guys in the chat, go ahead and let us know what you think. Who would win, Deathstroke or John Wick? I think that's a fun question.
John Wick 3 was definitely my least favorite of all of them. I feel like it was starting to wane. Like I'm just like, it's getting too ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that was where I'm like, John Wick 2 was the sequel that I wanted. It was just sort of like fun. But now it's just like, do I really? How extreme and crazy is it going to get? Is what I'm worried about. Let's see. We got a lot of votes. Deathstroke, John Wick. Let's see. So that's 3 so far. Wait, there were a bunch up here. Sorry. Deathstroke just needs his claws sticking up John Wick. It looks like Deathstroke getting more votes. We got another Deathstroke.
If you watch Titans, Deathstroke will destroy John Wick.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, I don't just the interesting point it was interesting because he's beating superpowers. Yeah, as Wookiee Fodder said, Neo could beat Deathstroke, but not John Wick. I feel like at the end of the day, if we're in a John Wick movie, Keanu would come on top like Johnny says here. But I don't know if he can. But hey, look, we have a special guest, Chris Gore.
Oh!
What up, dude? It's the Quarren stream.
Oh my God. What are we doing? Okay.
Well, I'm live at an airport, and I'm
Awesome.
trying to keep my show going, but I thought I'm at least social distancing from everyone here. How are you, Chris?
I don't know, surviving this, catching up on streaming.
What are you watching?
I watched a really good zombie movie. I don't know if you've seen Train to Busan.
Yeah, that's a Korean one, right?
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that was really good. I watched this one.
It's on Netflix.
I always forget the title of it, but I tweeted about it last week, and it's a French zombie movie. Oddly, about a guy, a zombie apocalypse breaks out, and then a guy gets trapped in an apartment, and he stays there, so he doesn't leave the apartment. So it's kind of like being quarantined. And it's called Night Eats the World or something. I don't know.
Night Eats the World.
Is that it? Yeah.
Yeah, The Night Eats. So 2008.
Yeah. So, that and I don't know. I'm watching a lot of news.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I have to turn it off.
It's like a horror movie.
Worse than Twitter.
Well, no, last time I remember this was just after 9/11, where it's I had the news on all the time, right? Trying to figure out what. And it's a similar mode where I see a lot of people, and now they're stuck at home. They can't even go out to get distracted themselves, and we're just reading this constant coverage. I feel like so many experts who don't actually know what they're talking about, just trying to say they do, and either scare us or I don't know. I can't tune in too much. I tune in for a minute, and then I tune out. But that's right. But that's a good suggestion for people out there if we want to stream something to distract themselves. You know what I watched yesterday with my family, which I forgot how fun it was. I was on Disney Plus. That was the app I had open, but I revisited Sister Act. Do you guys remember that one?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Whoopi
Goldberg. For a family movie, it was surprisingly fun. I forgot how good the music was, and she's really funny. Harvey Keitel's great. But that was if I had to watch one with kids and my parent, I was like, oh, that one's pretty good. There's so much I want to catch up on. I'm behind on Westworld. Are you guys watching that?
No,
I'm not watching Westworld now.
I heard, spoiler alert for those who didn't want the spoiler, mute for a second. Last night's show, I saw they spoiled it with a cameo. Did you guys hear this?
Oh no, spoil it for me because I don't care.
They literally they had a moment last night where they had one of the dragons with Daenerys's dragons in one of the labs, and they had DB Benioff and David Weiss as technicians with the dragon, implying that Game of Thrones is a simulation in the Westworld universe. It was really weird, but I'm kind of like, do I like that or not? I have to watch it in its context. But it doesn't spoil the show. It was just more of like a little Easter egg for fans that they've been teasing for a while.
That's kind of
cool. I thought that was interesting that they were like, oh, cool. They got is it Dracone is another like little labs. They got DB and David to be there as like lab suits, perfecting it. I was like, that's clever. What do you guys think of that?
I don't know. I think that's clever. I like stuff like that. But also, Game of Thrones, based on how it ended, I don't know.
Lord of the Rings is still the king.
Yeah, that's true. I did see The Invisible Man in the theater. That was the last movie I saw at Lewis. You might know the ArcLight in Pasadena. I went there the last night. I noticed that there were no shows after Monday. This was a week from today. Yeah. Well, I'm going to go see The Invisible Man. I was the only person in the movie theater.
I saw your picture. Yeah. You tweeted a picture. It was like, damn.
Yeah. Chris. It's like the Omega Man. It was so strange. The other thing that's cool, though, Lewis, you should know this. Drive-in movie theaters are open.
Yeah, I did see that.
Not all of them.
I thought they shut. No, I read they all shut down.
The Mission Tiki, if you go to like Mission Tiki, just Google that, in Southern California, they've got, I don't know, 3-4 drive-in movie theaters. One's in San Diego. I'm thinking about going. Yeah. So, I mean, you're in your car. You're kind of quarantined anyways. It's kind of, you can bring your own snacks and adult beverages. I'm going to do it.
Okay, so you saw The Invisible Man and the theater was empty, right? How do you know that for sure?
Yeah, that's true. Well, I really enjoyed the movie, and I do think that the environment. But I, this is really strange. Like now they've released all these films on, like, they're releasing them now to VOD, which is kind of cool. I'm told that Wonder Woman 84 is not going to come to streaming. They're going to hold it, but this could go for 18 months.
We can. Let's talk about that because we have two experts here. There's no way Warner Brothers does that. I saw that rumor percolating, but why? What rationale could Warner Brothers have aside from delaying? That movie could be the biggest of the year. You don't put your biggest movie of the year on streaming when you could make potentially $1 billion. And what's amazing, I read another article, I think it was Scott Mendelson, so it was on it, where I think you can own. They're going to probably own the Christmas, because if things go well and it tapers out, by December, things will hopefully theaters will be up and running. And then that's when Aquaman came out and so many others. That's when you can really own it. It makes sense to me. Why wouldn't you just save it till then or next year, even if you have to, because you would make way too much money on in theatrical that you wouldn't get streaming. I understand Trolls. I understand some of these, Lovebirds.
Slow news.
But you can't chuck Wonder Woman on streaming. That would be shocking.
It will cheapen the DCU or whatever they're doing with it, and it doesn't make sense. If you notice the movies, like I said, the movies that are being released on VOD, they've already had at least a week of theatrical time to make some money, except Trolls maybe. But I am saying the only movie that should be released right now is New Mutants. That movie's never going to come out. It's jinxed. Right. That's it. It's jinxed. Period. Just put it out. I'll pay $20 to watch it. Curiosity's killing me. I want to see it.
Yeah.
That sounds like the cut for me. Would Chris, would you put that streaming, or would you wait and get another theatrical window?
100%, because they're going to spend more money to market it than it'll make at the box office. It costs a lot of money to release a film in the theaters. New Mutants should definitely go to streaming. I think they're going to hold Black Widow. Obviously, I think that will hold. But what I'm concerned about is movies that were originally scheduled for the fall. For example, Dune, which is a book that I read the first Dune book every year through high school. I mean, that book changed my life. It's such a great, I don't know. I'm just a big fan of the Dune series of books. I think that, look, if people are, Marvel is shut down. They've reported Marvel Studios has shut down, right? I think that if they're working on the special effects for Dune, they're going to have to shut that down for a couple of months. I think that could push some release dates for some movies that originally scheduled for the fall, and then it'll push the summer schedule is going to become the fall schedule. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, I want to add something about New Mutants. They were already gearing up to market it. I already had emails, invites for everything, so they paid for that. So they're losing. They already lost money because even though the marketing didn't start, they had to pay all the PR to start revving it up and contact all the press. Now, what do you guys think of this? I think Dune stands to kind of benefit from this entire situation because it's such a huge epic. It needs time in the editing room. So like now that the release is delayed,
I disagree. I think Dune had a better spot because there wasn't any competition. And come December, there's going to be a lot more movies coming out that are going to, compete for its attention. And Dune is going to be way more of a Blade Runner 2049 than Avatar, I think.
I'm talking about film quality wise, not the box office.
For us nerds, but I'm just saying from a box office standpoint, I think they're in trouble now because starting in December, every movie is going to start having all these movies we've lost are going to double up and increase. So I think that's going to sadly hurt Dune's opportunity. Let's keep this going, but I saw a couple and I want to lose them because they're about to disappear. But James, thank you for the support. Thanks for having your channel active, especially now where it's keeping me sane. You're welcome, James. That's what we're trying. We'll try doing this every day. Chris, come back anytime you're feeling stir crazy. And then I had a couple others really quick. You guys can ask us anything you want. Bunda, Game of Thrones is way better than Lord of the Rings. Flecka. That's a fair fight because Game of Thrones didn't end well, and I'm not a huge Lord of the Rings guy, but I would say Lord of the Rings is better over Game of Thrones. But that's an interesting debate.
Well, it's an interesting debate, but what's interesting is we're not even talking about the first 3 Lord of the Rings movies, right? Just Lord of the Rings. That
correct.
We don't debate it because generally people liked it, and I am not a Lord of the Rings fan. I never read the books. I saw the Hobbit cartoon, the Ralph Bakshi cartoon when I was a kid. But I think that Lord of the Rings, because it's such a perfect, started, escalated great with the second film, Two Towers, and then it just had a great ending. We don't debate it. The Hobbit movies, if you include the Hobbit movies,
you can't.
Those were garbage. Garbage. Those, terrible.
But what do you think, Lewis? Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings?
Lord of the Rings, man, because
I think it's
okay. Look, to be fair, I'm gonna tell you this. I started Lord of the Rings. It didn't keep my attention, but I know that people are disappointed in the ending. So I don't know what that means. You guys tell me if you've seen it. Did Lord of the Rings made it past the finish line strongly? And it looks like Game of Thrones did not. I don't know. I wasn't able to finish Game of Thrones.
And then again, I see a lot of supporters. I want to make sure I get your questions. Myra, hey Myra, yes, I am really in an airport. As I said now a few times, it's not by choice. I had to be here.
Blue screen, man.
I had it's not. I can do a whole 360. I had to do a family thing, and I had to travel, and so it wasn't really a choice. And I was, my family and I had to make the decision. We did it because we had to, and did it very safely. I had no symptoms, and the way I put it, I was like, anybody who's here with me is also putting themselves at risk. It is what it is. And there's a lot of workers who have to be here, and I'm tipping them my best I can, supporting. And so until airports are shut down and people need to travel. So that's why I'm here. But I'll be home soon, and then I'm staying home, isolate myself because of this. But I had to do two airplanes, which sucked. But then I read the airplanes are circulated air. I did so much research. Who knows? I'm sure I did put myself way more at risk, but I'm hoping, we'll see. Where I was I went to Arizona, and it was in Arizona. There was a lot less cases, and I stayed away from the old people in Arizona because I didn't want to give it to them. But it is what it is. There was a couple. Sorry, really quick, and then I'll get back to you. That was it. Oh yeah, it was one more Game of Thrones thing as we were wrapping that up. I saw. Sorry, my internet's slow here because it's airport Wi-Fi. Game of Thrones is just a poor man's Dune. Do you agree, Chris?
Completely disagree. I won't, no, but they're two different things. To me, Game of Thrones is Dune in medieval times. Dune really is, and it's Game of Thrones. It's just in outer space, right? So I prefer Dune. I don't even know, as much as I like Denis Villeneuve, I don't know that you could do. I don't know that the movies is the best format. I think that actually a mini series would have been great for Dune. The first book could have probably been 3 seasons, right? The first 4 books really is kind of you could do maybe over the course of 7 to 10 seasons. And that's sort of the whole story. But I guess if I have to pick one, well, I kind of agree with this guy then, now that I think about it, Game of Thrones is just Dune. It's just Dune in medieval times, or a fantasy version of Dune. But But I just don't like the way the Game of Thrones, they rushed the ending. I don't mind the events as they occurred. I think that they should have occurred over the course of 2 seasons. That last abbreviated season should have been 2 full seasons.
Amen. They totally ruined it. And if they didn't want to do it, they should have handed it off to somebody else. I don't understand, because HBO wanted it, everybody wanted it, and they're like, no. They knew the ending was Bran in the seat, and they probably were like, let's just fast forward to this as fast as we can.
But it does make sense, who gets on the throne? The person who wants it the least, right? Like but I don't like the whole thing of like, and here's the book, and we're calling it A Song of Fire and what? Like the whole thing when the book comes out, and it's like, that was just too.
That was very Hobbit.
Too wrapped up and too like. It was dumb, but yeah. So I definitely agree with this guy.
There you go. It came all the way around, John. You got Chris Core to agree with you. All right, here's a random question for all of you. I mean, hey Andy, got a weird question. You wake up tomorrow, it's 1993. You're up for the role of Andy in Shawshank Redemption. Would you accept it or give it to Tim Robbins? I mean, come on. Of course I give it to Tim Robbins. I'm not an actor. What a stupid question. But I love you, Josh. Thank you for sending it. Any other stupid questions or support? Send them all in. So Chris, what else would you recommend for streaming? You're a film guy. You're a fan. You're a nerd. What else if you would suggest people, since we got you here, as we're all quarantined, what are you watching?
I recommend that you sign up for Apple TV Plus for a week. Make sure you cancel it before it's over. And you watch Mythic Quest Raven's Banquet. It's basically from the people who did It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And it's 8 episodes, about 30 minutes each. And it's sort of like The Office, but working at a video game company that does a massive multiplayer game. It's awesome. It's great. Tons of geek references. I mean, I watched it in one day. I thought that was great. So yeah, it's not on anything else like Netflix or whatnot. And then I'm watching like comedy specials on Netflix. I watched Bert Kreischer's new special, which was awesome. Mark Maron's was actually pretty good. He can be hit and miss, but especially if you're a fan of, he tells this whole story where he basically, I don't want to ruin it, but it involves Marvel movies. Basically, he makes this argument that Marvel movies are like a religion, because the way people argue about it is the way people argue about religion, but you can't prove anyone's wrong or right?
Yeah.
Makes sense?
I get it.
So
everything's like that though nowadays.
Yeah. So, and you can see kind of looming in the background. Can I show you something?
Please.
Okay, so
getting a house tour of Chris Core.
Okay, so I collect a lot of weird, geeky stuff. This is a This is a book I purchased from Australia. You can kind of read it here. It's Gotham, 1919 to 1939. This photographer artist from Australia did this book. It's totally unauthorized. It's called Panda King Express is where you can look it up. The book is basically if Batman was real and existed sort of during the Prohibition era of America. And it's incredible. It's got like, obviously you can see like the Joker here, but that
looks incredible.
It's this whole fictional history of Gotham City. Wow. And it's the photography is insanely cool. It's all the characters, but sort of like, it's like Batman in this sort of gangster era, Prohibition era of America, and it's an amazing book.
Why isn't someone should adapt this into a movie?
This is what I'm saying is like when they were talking about different ways to approach Batman, I'm thinking like do it as a period piece, do it like set in the 1920s, and that way you don't, because the problem with screenwriting today, I talked to a lot of screenwriter friends, they hate technology, right? Because so many things can be solved with check out Harvey Dent, right?
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
It's like the design for this.
It's like Boardwalk Empire a little bit. Yeah.
Yes, it is. It's got that kind of element.
Oh my gosh.
The Penguin, like all the villains are amazing. It's even got all the different Robins, but this is how I think you do it. They talked about doing the Fantastic Four. I talked to Peyton Reed years ago about doing the Fantastic Four. He wanted to do it as a period piece in the 60s. I think we just make it more interesting. The problem with technology, it's made us dullards and we're arguing about stupid shit like pronouns, right? I feel like let's get back to this this era where we can like focus more on story, right?
Yep. No, that's really sick. I like that book a lot.
No, this book is insane. God, I gotta find some of the other cool pictures in here, but it's like,
does it have Bane?
So wait, these are just art. So it's all drawn. It's all drawn.
No, it's photography.
So they found these old photography and like repurposed it in the skin of Batman.
They did it in the style of like, look, here's Harley Quinn and the Joker. Like, so they did the photography in the style of like the 1920s.
Oh, so they shot it today with they did like era effects. Got it. Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, and
that's really clever.
They cast actors in these costumes. It's just so
clearly using like old cameras and obviously
but it's like this is what like Deadshot would be like, right? Like, I mean, it's cool. It sort of has that, like, Watchmen kind of starts in a complete,
or even like a little Dick Tracy vibe.
Right. It's it just
a Rocketeer.
Yeah, like here's Batgirl, So it's, I don't know. I bought 3 copies of this because it's one of those things where it's like it's this thing is gonna get like shut down by DC.
It should be bought by DC actually.
They should. I mean, they should. I mean, but they kind of, it's so weird with IP, right? Like,
is it an ongoing thing or is it?
No. It's
those are beautiful. Yeah.
One-shot book. It's from Panda King. And I'm not like, I get no money from this, right?
Yeah, no, I love when it's a true out. You're like, yeah, buy this because it's cool.
Yeah, and it's just here's what it is. It's I don't know, the book is not cheap. It's like $60.
But you could do that with so many other IPs. That'd be really fun to go do it again. Yeah, with Spider-Man or Star Wars.
In fact, wait, let me show you one last thing because I'll just show you one last thing. I
love the show and tell with Chris Gore in his house.
Giant panda.
While he's going to get that, Chappelle's an insightful comic, but he's been for years. But Burr is better. The curve from him, anyways. Changed my mind, Andy. All right, we'll get to that in a second. I thought it was a comment, was a question. But hold on. Let's get back to Chris.
Real quick, came with a special edition print that is of the Justice League, but it's the Justice League if they existed in the time. Can you kind of see this?
Oh wow, yeah.
The Justice League if they existed like in the 1920s or 30s, right? You can kind of see like,
it's
awesome.
Pretty cool. I dig it.
Like American,
it does carry Watchmen, yeah.
Yeah. So in any case, I like to. If I'm collecting something, it's not something that you can just like pick up at any convention. It's like I want to, because I'm trying to pare down my collection so I have fewer physical things. So I just try to keep stuff that's rare. So there you go.
That was a good find. I like that.
Yeah. So yeah.
Is that Justice League part of that? The Justice League's not part of that book. That's a separate piece you have.
Like it was given if you ordered it, early or something. Because I ordered it 2 years ago and forgot I ordered it. It's one of those things like you contribute to a Kickstarter and then you're like, whoa, I forgot this Kickstarter happened,
That is some Kickstarter.
But that's
for sale in the stores yet or no?
It's not in any stores, only available mail order. So
wow. So there you go, guys. Look it up before DC clamps down. Here's another question. He wants to fight you again. Batman is just a poor man's shadow.
This guy, these are good questions.
He's always a troublemaker.
These are good questions.
I'm not as familiar with the Shadow, but do you know the Shadow? I only remember the Alec Baldwin movie. I wasn't old enough to remember the
Didn't it come originally, from a radio show?
Yeah, it was the radio show back in the day.
And then, but all these things kind of influence other things. He does, maybe Batman owes something to the Shadow in the sense that they kind of came in the same era and whatnot. So yeah.
And then we have the Nova. I agree with the period piece storytelling point. I like Luke Cage Noir. Imagine if that was the intro to the mainstream instead of Netflix. I haven't read that. Is that a comic where the noir version of Luke Cage? Because that sounds like it would have been cool.
I used to buy Luke Cage comics in the 70s. See, that'd be cool to do Luke Cage, but in the 70s, with the yellow shirt with the big collar. I mean, that would be awesome. I think that's something that I'm hoping that's the way they go with the Fantastic Four. I'm hoping that because I think we're living in a cultural moment where a lot of things are going to dissipate. I think that what this what's happening now with this pandemic is going to get us to focus on the things that really matter, the important problems, and not the problems we've created. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, totally.
Andy, you know what I'm talking about. It's just like let's get
Yeah,
down
like who would win, Deathstroke or John Wick?
Important.
Yeah, no, it's like that. But I agree. I think I think there's gonna be a lot of people who are gonna be sort of fed up at the end of this, of sort of the culture wars we've been stuck in, because there's more serious battles now we really need to be focused on.
I have a question for you too, because well, Chris left. I wanted to ask him too. So listen, I feel like I have two industry heavyweights here, to both sides of me, either side of me. I have a question because Zack Snyder has released more images from his Snyder cut, and my question is, and you can pull out the picture there. He has this the Vero thing, right? He's posted another picture. So my question to you guys: does this prove that there's no Snyder cut? Since shouldn't it be released during this time? Since everything's being
information about that.
Okay, and does he have a licensing right to do this?
I was exploring the idea of doing a documentary about the Snyder Cut. In fact, where I live in Pasadena, he goes to the same ArcLight cinemas because Zack Snyder lives in Pasadena, the city that I'm in, right? But I have a friend who I don't want to be specific about what department he works in, but he works for WB. There is no Snyder Cut. There were only pastiches of scenes, right, that were done. There does exist a script, but even the script wasn't completely finished when they started. And it was more like set pieces that he wanted to do toward like so there doesn't exist a physical cut of the movie from that original script because
no wait, you're starting a big war here because there's massive army who's not come at you to show you all the images, the film reels.
No. There's a lot of scenes that were shot. There's like the origin of Cyborg, like that stuff was
the football
shot.
scene. We saw parts of that.
There isn't here, let me define what Snyder Cut is. There isn't a cut of the movie Justice League as he envisioned it. There was a movie he began to make that had a bunch of different scenes, which ended up all in that first trailer, right? And all of those were big set pieces. It's almost like they shot the set pieces, but not the story. And it's like, yeah, we'll get to the story, which is the dialogue, or like Alfred sitting in a room saying, turn to the left, they're on your right. Oh no. You know what they call, what do they call that? Captain Plot Point or whatever. Those kinds of things. They're like, yeah, when we need that, we'll shoot that, because we don't know how we're going to pace this thing. But it was.
So why? So he's denied that. He said, no, they're the full cut. Yes, there's some work that needs to be done. He's shown the reels. People are now, there was a new one, Lewis, correct me. There's a new like art department. Like, oh, you got to come watch the cut. So why is he?
No, that was a stunt coordinator. Stunt coordinator said that he heard from someone that it was great.
That they've been watching the cut. What do you think he's referring to then?
I can talk to. There are scenes that exist. There are definitely scenes that exist, but there wasn't a full cut of a finished movie, even without special effects. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, and I can talk to you offline about how I know this.
Okay, so he's got.
I'm happy to.
Got real.
No, but there was.
We're not going to say your sources, but you feel confident in saying this out loud that there is a assembly of scenes. Maybe
there's an assembly of scenes, and so you could scenes, some finished, some unfinished, of a cut that was in the making, and but frankly, I really feel like they should have followed through on the vision. All the sort of steampunk Batman and what that was supposed to be, that never pays off. The Flash coming into the past and talking to Bruce, that doesn't pay off. There's a lot. It's really disheartening. And looking back, what's funny is Man of Steel actually holds up. I think there are a couple tonal issues with Man of Steel, but that movie has grown on me more. Where other Marvel movies that you liked when you first saw it, you go, that's not as good as I remember it. Right,
Chris? Could I ask you a question?
I was gonna say, Lewis, can I to piggyback off this? Hold your thought, because I have an unpopular thought too. Well, it's popular, but I think I support Zack Snyder actually, because I think Zack got screwed by Warner Brothers, and obviously tragedy ruined his movie, and he has every right to make a Snyder cut. And if he wants to say he has a Snyder cut, good on him. But I think there's a little bit of saving face in him rubbing it in Warner Brothers' face, because especially given where we are right now on HBO Max, if there was a complete Snyder cut, they would release it. It's just money. So I don't believe the always thing that holds me out is like, I don't believe that it's finished complete cut, because why wouldn't they put it out there? That's my always hesitation. And then the other side of the coin that I see is I've seen a lot of rumors of JJ trying to stir up the release, the JJ cut, which I've had my own sources say that's complete BS. There's no JJ cut. There's no JJ cut. He's just trying to save face because people don't like the movie as much as they want to. So now he has Dominic Monaghan and others sort of coming out to the woodwork to be like, no, there was a whole bunch of stuff he shot. Of course, there's stuff he shot, but that was the movie he made. There's no other cut that we're gonna get. But I guess where I'm stuck, if it wasn't different for Snyder and there really was a cut, why wouldn't Warner Brothers just put it out and make money?
Well, that's a crazy question. I don't know, but you look at the people that are in charge of these things. Sometimes I don't think that they understand the nerd community completely well, and they're more business driven people. I mean, we've all known people that work in those kind of positions. I think that maybe the best format to actually do this might be in the form of doing a documentary. There's a filmmaker you might know, Alexander O. Felipe.
Yeah, from People versus Lucas. We were in that.
He did the People versus George Lucas, which I happened to be in. He was
here.
He also did a movie called Memory: The Origins of Alien, and he just did a film about The Exorcist with William Friedkin. What I would like to do is I would like to sit down, and the Friedkin documentary is great. I don't know if it's out. I do know it plays Sundance, and I did a podcast with Alexander that's on my YouTube channel at Film Threat, where we talked about this. What I'd like to do is sit Zack Snyder down, talk to him for several days about what the movie was supposed to be, and then show as much footage as possible and make that kind of a documentary, actually set all this stuff to rest, right? Because I don't think that you could actually show the Snyder cut, but you could in documentary form, kind of like what our friend John Schnepp did with Death of Superman Lives, What Happened. John Schnepp, a great friend of mine for years. I was thinking maybe I could do that in some sort of format, but I'm working on another documentary now that's basically shut down. I don't know what we're going to do. It's the Attack of the Doc documentary. I did a Kickstarter for that, and we were all amped up to spend the entire month of March and April just doing interviews. Everything just canceled. We just started doing our first few interviews, and so I would like to at some point. I don't know. Maybe I could. Okay, we're sort of ideating right now as we're talking. Would anyone be interested in seeing an interview, like a very long deep dive interview with Zack Snyder?
Yes,
mixed with footage.
Yes,
right here.
Absolutely. He doesn't own the footage, or can he just put it out there and leak it?
He keeps releasing stuff.
Okay. Did you see the Death of Superman Lives? What Happened?
Yeah.
There's footage of Nicolas Cage as Superman kind of workshopping with Tim Burton. Nicolas Cage did not do an interview for this documentary, but what there exists was footage that Tim Burton gained the trust, he basically trusted John Schnepp.
Warner Brothers shutting down there.
Yeah. So another Warner Brothers thing. It's like there's fair use, meaning Snyder could not release a cut of the movie, but he could
do commentary about the clips if they were leaked.
Honestly, this sounds like a weird thing. We're thinking out loud publicly on YouTube, which is probably a stupid idea.
Here, Chris. Yeah, let's do it offline. Because Chris, here's another idea. What if Warner Brothers Animation did an animated version of all the sort of pieces that were missing?
That actually makes sense. You could do that, but I don't know that movies are so made in the editing, and I do think that Zack Snyder is one of those big set piece type directors where it's like we'll worry about the plot and the dialogue later. That it was probably just a series of scenes, right? It wasn't a completely finished thing, right? With all the council meeting scenes and
people have been getting pissed off at me, but I always said it shouldn't be release the Snyder Cut. It should be complete the Snyder Cut. Do you agree with that? That should be the hashtag.
I agree.
You can do that. First of all, this is not unprecedented in film history. I'll give you an example.
Superman 2.
Beauty and the Beast. Yeah. Beauty and the Beast was Jeffrey Katzenberg. This is when Disney animation in the early 90s sort of had its comeuppance with Lion King and Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast, there was a rough cut of Beauty and the Beast that was done with pencil drawings. They released it theatrically. They took this so that like audience could see the artistry that went into Beauty and the Beast, all these hand-drawn things. And they took, and it's generally the same movie sound-wise with some extra footage, but it's the entire Beauty and the Beast animated film from the 90s, but all done with hand drawing. So this is not an unprecedented thing for a studio to release a cut of a film that wasn't finished. They could do it in storyboards or animatics with people doing the voice. Oh, you got to get off the computer, it looks like, Andy.
No. I'm just PSA walks a while, and I'm just like, hello, and they smile.
Yeah.
Until they shut me down. I did have a comment. I was very good Wi-Fi at this airport. It's because no one's here. But go ahead.
Right. Anyway,
Bro, you look better than you do in your studio.
I've thought about approaching Zach. Maybe I do know the cinematographer from BVS who follows me and Film Thread on. I don't know. It's something that like I thought about doing, but here's the thing: is we live in such a broken economy right now, which is going to only get more broken. I personally have so many friends that are bartenders or actors and other filmmakers that are out of work. I would feel so guilty asking for money to work on a project when I haven't finished Attack of the Dock yet. I want to kind of explore that and finish before the end of the year something. We were originally going to screen a cut of the doc at San Diego Comic-Con. I'm 100% sure that San Diego Comic-Con's not going to happen, and we're not going to have a cut that we'll be able to show.
I think your backers will forgive you and let you delay this a little longer if need
well,
be.
yeah, I haven't done an update on the Kickstarter about this because we've got a bunch of content that we want to throw up, but this was all done before this thing blew up. So we're going to post that content, but I really just looking at what the next project could be. So this could be the next project.
Dude, absolutely. I mean, you gotta start having those conversations now to goose the sub wheels to get into, because you got to remember Snyder's very vocal of being a cut. So it's all in how, if you're out there saying there's no cut, you might be going against the grain what he's actually trying to have out there.
I mean, legally, he could not release the cut. Legally, what he could do is sit down for interview, maybe a 15, 20-hour interview over the course of several days that could result in a documentary augmented by footage that he allows me to use, because documentary is considered news. So, and I do know
Warner Brothers is going to definitely not allow that. I mean, I don't know. That seems like, but you get the lawyers in place to make sure you have the protection, because if you start showing big chunks of the movie in their entirety, which is what the fans want,
it's about the context. It's about the context, right? So, and the other thing is, I wrote a book years ago, which I think you can still get it, but it's very out of date. In 1999, I wrote a book called The 50 Greatest Movies Never Made, because one of my obsessions was collecting unproduced screenplays, like the Silver Surfer project from the 1980s that Marvel was going to do. Like, there are so many, a whole bunch of unmade Alfred Hitchcock films. Dude,
we were trying to do that. We were trying to do that Screen Junkies, and then Schnepp's documentary obviously happened, and we were like, well, damn, how do we compete with this? We even talked to him about, well, how do we fund the next one? There was whole talks, and then we ended up doing the Galaxy Quest. But dude, there's so many. I want to see James Cameron's
Knock turned out great.
Superman. Yeah. James Cameron's Spider-Man is an amazing story. You could tell. There's so many lost movies.
Spider-Man. Yeah, there's tons of them. So I used to collect these screenplays and any article I could on these movies. So I wrote a book about this, which my intention for writing the book was to develop it into a television series, right? At the time, that's when TV was, I don't know, a different era, right? So this is the 90s when I wrote this book. And since some of the films have been made, some of them maybe didn't fit in the greatest category, but there's some really incredible ones. Like Stanley Kubrick was going to do Napoleon with Jack Nicholson as Napoleon. Damn. And was going to use basically members of the Romanian army to stage full battle scenes as, would have occurred, right? So this is before digital effects and whatnot. So there's some really amazing stories in this. So it's a dream project. Maybe it's something for Netflix. Maybe, Andy, you and I could pitch it to Netflix. You've got a lot of experience.
We should talk because there's definitely there's something fun there. And if you have the relationships, or I have all you could get crowdfunding to get it done, so that way people get paid to get done. But Snyder doesn't need the money. He doesn't need money to get it done. Hopefully, he just wants to get it out there.
the whole thing I know from doing docs is you have to have the trust of the subject, right? And I've only interviewed Zack Snyder a few times. He's always been pleasant, professional. Like everyone else, I've liked some of his films. I've disliked some of his films. I remember when Batman v Superman came out, I liked it more than most people just because I thought, well, this is very different. It's also Frank Miller Batman, which is, I mean, that made me fall in love with Batman again when I first read that when I was like in high school, like,
dude, look, there I am.
There you are.
Yeah.
Well,
I think I'm a fan too.
There's video of him. There's video of him. Fan asked him, "Is there a Snyder cut?" Point blank. Then he comes back and goes, he's signing his autograph. He's like, "Yeah, there's a cut. There's several cuts. Warner Brothers owns some. I own some. What does that mean?" It sounds like it's not nothing's done.
I don't believe that there is a finish. The titles come up and the credits roll. I don't believe that exists. What I do believe is that there are set pieces and scenes like, I have to talk to you offline or else I'm going to give stuff away.
Yeah, don't interrupt because you're also I've had them come after me hard for this Snyder Army because there's so many clips. There's so many clips of Snyder talking about this that I've been schooled myself. So I've stood up for it because I've seen enough clips now talking from him. Because someone asked him on Vero, like, is it a finished cut? And he said, "What do you think?" So he's always like toying with the fans to like offer like to keep the thing going. And so like I don't say this to start controversy or shade. I do think I'm with you. I don't think it's a completed fully. It's not what he envisioned for sure. I fought that hard because I was like, I got in trouble because I said it doesn't exist. I was like, it's because they rewrote the script 10 times even before he shot. So you're not ever going to get what vision is. That's gone. Now, what fans are always fighting for is, did Snyder make a cut of what was shot? That's what the question is. And that all the stuff that he didn't shoot, was he able to sort of mangle together a cut that sort of puts together a best you can do version of given what was out there. That I think is what the debate is. Does he have a version of the film with his stuff and what Whedon did and some maybe temporary stuff that needs some smoothing over is what the questions are. That's what I don't know. So, but I think you got to be careful because that army's hard.
Well, you know what? That army
you're not against them, or they will take you down.
That army should have been around when Man of Steel came out and all the other Snyder movies, because all I remember is saying, "Hey, I kind of like Man of Steel," and then everybody attacking me for liking anything to do with Zack Snyder. Now all of a sudden, everyone loves it. So I'm going to gather.
I was gonna say, let me gather all the clips and we could do another stream this week sometime when you're bored, Chris. Let's do a full Snyder conversation, because then we can have some Snyder people come in and debate with you, because they'll come and I got a lot of them. Let's at least have the conversation there. I was gonna say before I get kicked out of the airport, Vitaly, thank you. How about the shadow for future video club episode? Yeah, potentially that could be a lot of fun. I want to see that. I haven't watched that in forever. The Alec Baldwin who directed that. I don't even remember, but I remember that being slightly fun. And then I'm down to rewatch. I usually prefer stuff that's on streaming. And then I have here a couple other sent in that I just want to make sure I don't ignore. The Nova saw clips of Van Helsing, Wolfman 2010 yesterday. Industries should invest more in monster hunting films. TV, not basic BS like vamps and wolves, innovative creatures, left field action, detective work. Sure. I like that. I think it would be fun to get some more monster creating, like not the typical universal ones we know, but some new monster creatures.
Yeah.
I'm down with that. I think I want to see Monster Squad brought back to life. If we're gonna
I would love
things.
That would be cool.
I would love
and then Anthony McIntosh, gents, can't find an HD camera anywhere. What do you think? Lewis, what did you just buy from Jody to give Anthony?
I didn't
advice?
buy this from Jody. I had a Panasonic Lumix, and he's like, "Why are you using an inferior other camera?" I'm not going to talk about the other camera. Try the Lumix. That's what I use. And Jody looks friggin' clear. So I'm trying it out right now. I just have to do a few adjustments. But if you're looking for an HD camera, what you do is you keep researching it on YouTube. We're in an era right now where everyth's being reviewed.
Everybody reports on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
See how their footage looks.
And we have Amazon.
I have a Brio webcam, a Logitech that's good on OBS, but when I put it into StreamYard, it looks like crap. So it sometimes depends on your distributor as well. So ask Jody. He's got some good stuff he's been using too. And then Myra, if WB is smart, when they release HBO Max, they should make a documentary on the Snyder Cut. I think Snyder Cut is more of an urban legend for hype. Look, I think that's where we're at, and that's what Chris is pitching. I would love to see Chris's documentary. I think I would love to just see Zach talk about it. Zach doesn't seem to care anymore. And I love when people just don't give an F anymore and they speak true. That's always the most interesting stuff you get. And so I'd love for him to just be able to just unleash and sort of explain what it was supposed to be. I mean, I feel like he's sort of done a little bit of that. He's been in some Q&As where he's shown that Doomsday comes back and was going to kill Lois Lane through the Doom tube. Like there's some dark moments he's been talking about. So here's what I'm stuck because he's right. Urban Legend. The question I've always asked, and we had a nerd war, like even if Zach could do this cut, is it really going to be better? That's what the next question is, right? I mean, it'll be better than Justice League, but will it be like a great film, you know?
There, the ending, Doomsday, Superman.
We've built up so much hype now, and the fans are so like, yes. But will it be better? I think in hindsight, like
I want to
see it better in hindsight.
I want to see it.
And I want to see this, but will it really be like a commercial pleaser that everyone's like, yes, go watch this? I don't think it'll please the diehard fans. But what do you guys think?
You know what's crazy? A little bit off the topic that this is history repeating itself. Donner's Superman 2 was released like 20 years after the original was released, and it was a Frankenstein movie. Way worse than what we got with Justice League, where you actually had screen tests put in the film as you were watching it. You remember that, guys?
I have the Donner cut. I mean, it's better because from a tone standpoint, it doesn't get into ridiculousness. It doesn't have like the stupid, imbecilic, Three Stooges humor. But it's flawed because, as you said, Frankenstein, I think that was a great reference. It's been cut in a way that it's like, I think if you redo a film too many years after the fact, you're using modern day tools to fix problems that should have been fixed when it was originally done. It's kind of like the Star Wars special editions, which are horrible. That's why I have the Blu-rays of the, despecialized editions, which you can find online places. But I don't know. Yeah. So this has happened before. I just think that the documentary maybe is the only way that you'll get to see footage from it, because presenting it in a news format, it's a matter of like, am I the filmmaker that Zack Snyder would trust to be able to do it? I'm not sure. He pretty much has his pick of whoever he'd want to work with. And Andy, you have experience in this also. Also, when you're dealing in that sense, is he going to be a producer on it and have say? That can make it good or bad.
That makes it tough. You don't want to be a producer on your own documentary. You got to sort of find someone you trust and let them take it. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of weird things. I just want to finish up this documentary, which unfortunately is now going to take me 6 months longer than I thought, specifically because of this shutdown.
Kickstarters suck. I'll do a stream with you about that someday, because it's like, it's so much work and you don't really realize. Like when I make Hugging the Cactus, I still have to send out my pieces, but stuff gets delayed. It's not like I'm putting it off. I'm delivering, but man, you feel like crap. I got to go find the addresses, and then the people don't email you back to get their address. It's the whole thing. There's so many things you learn when you do a Kickstarter. You're like, keep it as simple, keep everything digital. It's such a bummer. But in this case, you'll be fine, because everyone understands. If Wonder Woman's getting delayed, I think Attack of the Dock can get delayed without the fans losing their mind.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's where I'm at right now. It just sucks.
Totally sucks.
I've only done 2 successful, but yeah, people still want physical rewards. So we did patches. And we do have a Patreon for it, but I feel guilty taking anyone's money right now based on the current economic climate. So yeah, I don't know. I can't really shut down the Patreon. I have people on it, and we actually produce content through the fall. I do DV Tuesday every Tuesday on our Patreon for Attack of the Dock. So we've been doing it since January. Sounds like the airport. Are you getting shut down, or when's your flight?
No, there's just more people. Sorry, it's soon. I got stuck here for a while. But yeah, as we wrap this out, let's plan a Snyder talk, because I think that'd be fun. Okay. We can do this again one of these afternoons. And then I'm down. Where can people support you now, or where do you want to send people, Chris, as we wind down? Anywhere to send people who are watching?
I'm Film Threat on everything. Read my website if you want to find out about movies. Filmthreat.com, and you can follow me at that Chris Gore. And Attack of the Dock, you can just go to attackofthedock.com or look up Attack of the Dock on Patreon. If you want to support it, if you really want to support it and you can afford to do it, please don't do it unless you can afford to do it. You can go on Patreon, look up Attack of the Dock. So new content every week.
Check it out and go support Film Threat, all that stuff. And then we had one more question for you as we're winding down. From have you seen Castle of Cagliostro?
Cagliostro?
Yeah, Cagliostro. There you go.
I have not, but this guy has good taste, Genchi Fox 2. So I'm gonna look that up. I'm just gonna Google it, and I assume I'll find it. I'm gonna look it up like right now. So
There
cool.
you go.
Great.
There you go. See,
Awesome.
noted. And then Nerd Report, go check out, support Lewis over at Nerd Report. Money sign Nerd Report to go support him as all his conventions are down. He needs the love. So go support him if you can. Thank you, Uzo, and everybody in the moderators helping put things out there. And then obviously support links down below if you can. As Chris said, obviously, if you can do it, if you can't do it, to all your creators as you can. Everybody needs a little help. Anybody you can who's out there working. If you have the means, always do it. And thank you. I just got one from the Cash App. I love the Cash App. Ricardo, did he send one to you, Lewis?
Maybe. Let's check.
Ricardo
Banda.
He supports us with his splits his 5 down the middle. Thank you, Ricardo,
man.
for the Cash App in the stream. And I really appreciate it. You guys are the best. And so there we go. We did it live from an airport.
I'll be live tonight too in LA. LA time 9 o'clock. Sorry.
Cool. And then I'll be live tomorrow night with Jody for another Change Our Mind. And then Chris, if you're bored and you want to get on these streams, I'm sure Lewis and I would love to have you anytime you're
text me.
You're like, damn, I want to talk. So good to know. We'll get you back on. The fans like you. Everybody, thanks so much for watching. Everybody, stay tuned, stay safe. I'm gonna go put my masks on, go be safe, and I'll be home tonight quarantining for the rest. So I should be, if all goes well, I'll be back in studio tomorrow, and then we'll see in a couple weeks if this was a bad call. But thank you all so much for sticking with me. Thanks for tuning in, you both, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Later. Bye. Bye.